Alright, welcome back, gang. Episode 5. Let's wrap this up. We have an interesting one. We have Pearl on your Yu-Gi-Oh channel when he went through this divorce of Yu-Gi-Oh. It's going everywhere, so I mean, I might as well reactception to it, right? Not an animal greely on the screen for once, right? I'm thankful for that. No key. Kinda toxic. Alright, I'll shut up.
The argument that conservatives make is that men make more because of women, and that, you know, the men just need a woman to tame them and just make them better men. And from my experience, that wasn't the case. The case that I have seen is that if they make more money, the woman is spending it. And oftentimes women are more of a distraction to men than a benefit in 2024. So I want to watch this video, and he's actually going to come on the show Wednesday to talk about this. But this guy got divorced over Yu-Gi-Oh.
I need to say this. Let me just say it straight out.
And by the way, this seems like a Christian guy. He's got, I can do anything through God who strengthens me. Seems like
he's just sizing him down immediately, no hesitation. That's funny.
Christian guy.
I am no longer married, and I'm divorced. When I met this woman and I told her about my Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, she hated it. She didn't like it.
He was, to give preface, he was a Yu-Gi-Oh YouTuber.
She said that, hey, you can do something better with your life. You should go back to school. So you know what I did back in 2016, 17, 16? I said, you know what? Maybe she's right. And you know what I did? I sold.
Let me take her up on her. Oh my god, school sells you a dream. Oh, they sell you a pipe dream, and that's how they get you. School. School equals better life. Oh, this and that.
All my equipment. I sold my YouTube channel. I sold all my camera stuff. I'm like, you know what? Maybe it is time to move on. Maybe it's time for me to do something better with my life. Not knowing that at that time, what I had was very special. At that time, something that I chose to do, YouTube, I had something going on. Even though I had some drama and stuff going on.
It's a classic case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Sometimes somebody sells you this idea and it might seem all glamorous on paper, but it just doesn't work out, man. Everybody has their own pace. Everybody has their own kind of grind. If you've already, the thing is, for a man, the hardest thing is finding a grind. If you find that grind, you've got it made. But that's where most men struggle. Most men struggle in the way of like finding their grind. Because you gotta find the direction where you want to head at. Once you get to that grind, it's a lot easier for most guys. Maybe others have trouble actually committing to the grind, but you find the grind, that's it. You just keep doing what you're doing. Finding the grind, for me, is where it can be challenging.
Before, and I shut down my channel a few times, I had something that I completely gave up. I gave it up because someone said, hey, you know what? Maybe it is time to move on. You gotta do something better with your life. There's gotta be something more for your life. And I sold all my stuff for a woman, and she's no longer here. And this problem persists. She told me at that time, hey, you wanna meet my mother? You need a car. Because I didn't have a car at the time. I was doing YouTube. I was working from home.
So she's saying spend more money. Because men are practical. He said, I don't need a car. Why do I need a car?
I need to drive anywhere. Yes, you.
Dude, especially, she's not kidding. I mean, with how car insurance is a scam. For a dude, for your average dude, they really got to take that shit into consideration. I mean, it's either I got a reason to drive, or I don't know, I'm gonna be riding dirty or something.
YouTube is what I did for a living. It's how I paid my bills. And I was street performing also. How did I street perform? I just catch the bus 20 minutes down the street, played my horn, went home. I never needed a car. But when I met this woman, you have to go back to school. You have to exercise. You have to get your degree. You have to do something better with your life. Even though I explained to her, this is what I chose to do. A woman comes in your life and try to tell you the plan that you chose for your life is wrong. And out of love, I choose to say, you know what? Maybe she's right. And I took a chance. I said, you know what? I'm gonna give this up completely. Like, for good. Sold the channel to Jobber. Sold all my stuff. Tried to go back to school multiple times. I don't want to say that I can't finish school, but it's certainly different.
That's the sad part. When he went to school multiple times, he said, it's like multiple times, man. You learn from one mistake. I'm sorry, my guy, but you just got to learn from one single mistake. You got to have the capacity there to just be like, never again, never again. You make the same mistake, you know, if school doesn't work out for you several times, I think that's more than a signal for you to stop.
feels like I can't. I don't know what it is. And every time I talk to people, they just think that everything I say is just an excuse. You are a grown man. You are an adult. You can do it. It's like no one can see it from my perspective. It's like I am always wrong. When I study, what I do? Fall asleep. What do they say? Hey, you're lazy. You're procrastinating. You're choosing not to do this.
Classic.
Like, that's gotta be something wrong with me. When it comes to school, studying and staying on task and staying focused, I just can't do it. And I try, and I go back to school, and I pay all this money, and I pay all this money, and I fail, and I fail, and I fail, and I fail. Music has always been there for me, and I've always been great at it. People say that, hey, they try to test me. They say, hey, you know music, right? You know this person? No. You know this person? No. You know this person? No. Well, how are you a musician? I also get people saying to me, hey, what key is this in? I don't know. Like, well, they say, well, how are you playing? How are you a musician? How do you play so well? I am
It's
not
something
the type
else,
of person
and I like what's
book
happening.
Smart.
And remember, a lot of men feel like that because the school system caters to women. It's run by women, and women tend to be better at like regurgitating information back to you. They're better at things like showing up to class, so they have more emphasis on things that don't really matter as much. Where men, before I think it was the 70s or the 80s, the school system was just straight tests. You take the test, can you do it? So if guys don't see it as useful to show up to class, they just won't come. Women will come anyway. So a lot of men go through the school system and think that they're dumb or whatever because they don't learn like women.
I don't know things, but I know how to.
Yeah, that's pretty on point. Men are more physical and hands-on a lot of times, and we just like to dip our toes there more directly than women. Women just are more catered to not having to move around much, and they could focus more typically when things are by the books. Right? Cookbook, learning, just they know how to interpret that better. Men, we need to go and make our trial and errors. So that's just how we learn. So she's got a point there that you just feel dysfunctional as a guy going to a school. It's not pretty.
Do things. I know how to do things physically in a creative way. I'm not a type of person who retains things and hold on to things, who can read a book and then take a test, pass it, and go on. That's not me. I am a...
Dude, like when I was at school to get my degree, man, I had to do so much like memory tests. I had to basically beat the information into me. It was a force that I had to. It was like forced habit that I had to enforce on myself to pretty much, like Pearl said, regurgitate information that was spat to me. It just didn't feel natural to me. Like the way that I like to learn naturally, it didn't feel natural, but I had to do it to get the degree.
I'm a creative-minded person. Anything that involves creativity, I can do.
So he's saying, I know how to do, I don't know these theories, all this stuff, I just do it, right? That's much more like men. It's much more how men operate.
At least to some degree, where people are like, wow, you do it so well. You ever thought about going to school? No, I tried. It doesn't work. So this is all tying together. I met the parents. They asked me, hey, what do you do for a living? I had to tell them I am a musician. I couldn't tell them I was a
Oh, that question is so dreadful. What do you do for a living? It's like... Like, where do I start with that? That's like, you might as well, if you ask someone, what do you do for a living? You might as well ask for their life story while you're at it.
Musician. I am a musician. Then they said, hey, you have a degree? I said, I don't have a degree. My wife's parents did not speak to me for 2 years and told her not to marry me because I don't have a degree. What sense does that make? So I give up this YouTube thing. I give up my entrepreneurial thing. I try to do something that's not innately a part of my strength at all because I'm thinking I'm in love to do something for somebody to prove. And this continues on through the marriage. She says, hey, you need to find a hobby. I'm like, oh, let me play Yu-Gi-Oh again. So last December, last year, I start my channel up again. I buy my channel back from Java. Like, oh, she gave me the okay to go into a hobby. You know what she said? You're spending too much time playing those cards. It's either the cards or me. She literally said that. I'm like, you just said I need a hobby. I get into a hobby, and now you said I'm doing it too much. What is it?
So I don't know what it is, but again, this is something I found out from men. They get married and women hate whatever their hobby is and try to destroy it. So for some women, it's video games. They just can't let the men enjoy their video games. Other women, it's football. They can't let the men enjoy their football. You know, ladies, we have stupid hobbies too. I mean, we like the Kardashians. And the men, they don't care. They say, okay, go watch that brain rot TV. It's not my problem. That's our thing. We like makeup tutorial. You know, I like women's sports, even though nobody watches them. That's fun to me. I like playing. You know, so many men go into marriage thinking it's the thing that Matt Walsh is saying, right? Or Ben Shapiro saying. And they get into this reality where this woman is trying to change who she is. And then they're saying, well, you just picked the wrong woman. Maybe he did. But do you think that he should be put on lifetime alimony for picking the wrong? Like, doesn't everyone make mistakes when they're young? Doesn't that happen?
She says, why are you into those cards so much? I said, hey, I need to make a video about something. And I haven't played this card game for 2 years, on and off. How can I make a video for my subscribers about something I have no knowledge of? And I try to explain it to her, but she don't get it. She thinks it's just cards.
They said it's literally doesn't matter what it is. The problem is the attention is not on her and she isn't interested in it and lacks a personality and thinks it needs to be about the status.
Play like Uno. It's not that way. Every 3 months, a new set come out, new stuff come out. I can't make a video about something if I don't know what is
Oh, man, those people are so annoying. Like, it's just, they're always finding, like, a reason to be nitpicky and everything. And it's just like, just enjoy things as they are. And, like, just ride with it. Whatever happens, happens. Just kind of wing it a little bit, man. Ain't nothing wrong with just winging it a little bit and just being like, maybe I'm not a fan of this, but we'll see where it goes. I do it all the time.
I can't start my channel back up and just start making videos. I have to be in it. I have to learn about it and learn what's going on.
And this just broke my heart because she's trying to mold him into something he's just not. He's not the normal 9-to-5 guy. And I was looking at his channel. I don't know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh, so I have no idea what his stuff was, but I saw that
he's not a pro player, guys.
Views that he used to get 10 years ago, and they were crazy. They were really, really high. And because he wanted to do the right thing, he gave that up for her. And this is what switched my mind on no-fault divorce. Should he be subject to that woman for the rest of his life? That ruins anything he's interested in. I don't think so. You know, the idea of banning divorce, I used to say that, right? It's interesting in theory, but in practice, I don't think men like that should be punished for life for picking the wrong woman. Cut your losses, you know?
So she hated those cards. She literally cried because of those cards. And people say, hey, priorities, man. It's your wife, or, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. But then I'll be back at that point where I'm giving up things that I like, things that's a part of my life for someone else to feel happy. And I feel miserable in the process. I'm sitting there watching all these YouTubers come out and make videos and do all this stuff. They're traveling. I'm like, that's what I used to do. I love that. I miss that.
And you can just tell he's so passionate about it, right? You can tell that it's not even about the money for him. He just likes you.
Why can't she come along with my journey instead of...
Yeah, and YouTube is hard. So, like, when you have YouTube going on, that's a big up that you can have as a person, just period, man. YouTube is a hard grind. To get yourself to the point where you're actually making legit money off of that, not easy. I'm trying to figure it out myself right now as we speak. The hustle.
And then that's money gone from me. It's not about the money, but that was money gone from me. Then street performing. I said to her, hey, I don't want to move away from Baltimore. You might be thinking, why? That's where my home base is. My gig, my performances. Keep in mind, I didn't have a job. Like, when I say I don't have a job, like a real job. A real job is, going in 9 to 5. I didn't have a real job for over 10 years. It was YouTube and playing my horn.
Man, real job honestly shouldn't even be a term in 2024, or basically in 2025, more or less. Like, nowadays it's just like, I don't know, surviving, getting by, right? Like, there's no real job. It's just everything is a gig. You gotta self-employ. This is the age of self-employment, of just making yourself useful to society in whatever way that you can invent, pull out of your ass, basically. There's no such thing as a real job, because nothing is certain. You see, jobs got their definitions because of their security. Once you throw security out the window and everything's just kind of up in the air like dog shit shot out of the cannon, then there is no real job, because everything is just temporary, more or less, or just kind of like a shot in the dark and seeing if it freaking sticks, right?
That's how I paid all my bills. So when we got married and we moved out to Baltimore to someone else I didn't want to be, she said, hey, how come you're not paying the bills? And I was like, what? I have a job. I have a 9-to-5 job. I don't make enough from this 9-to-5 job to pay all these bills.
That's the other thing. The tribes will say, well, have a stay-at-home wife. You're not a real man if you can't pay all the bills. Well, not all the men that are doing the infrastructure jobs of this country are paid enough to deal with the modern woman's spending habits. And they can't tell her stop spending, right? We have credit cards now. What is the man supposed to do?
I could street performing and
they get sandwiched in debt. It's just a debt sandwich. Like, the wages are just not keeping up, and they think that it's just, do people become aware of like the way that everything is rising in price, and then the pay doesn't go up. It don't go up at all.
YouTube, I made enough money off of that to pay the bills. Now I'm working 9-to-5 all day long, and that's not a complaint because there are people who do that. But I had something that most people wish they had. Most people wish they can go out, make some money, pay their bills, and have all day off.
And that's another thing. Time is more than money nowadays. So if you think about it, because you can sure go on ahead and commit yourself to a job, a day job, but guess what? That day job money that you get, those scraps, the main thing is that getting a real job is money that doesn't grow. It's money that doesn't exponentiate. Whereas if you get on a gig and you self-employ yourself and you get into some kind of business, you run some kind of business, yeah, sure, your income is not steady, but the thing can grow. It can grow. That's the big thing about it. So this is the economy of just you gotta make or break, just nut or bust. That's what it is. You have no other choice, because are you going to try to stay safe and be with your crappy day job that gives you pennies on the dollar, that is just money that doesn't grow, keep you crawling back like a damn cockroach because, you're stuck in full time? Or what are you going to do? Are you going to go and try to get on some hustle and then get some part-time job just enough to sustain that hustle and to put your money into other places that you actually really want to be at? The choice is pretty obvious. Get yourself a part-time and focus mainly on your main hustle.
That was a gift. That was something that I had. Now, you can take this video of me complaining, crying, I messed up. It is all of that. It is true. I am complaining. I am hurt. I made some mistakes. I did some dumb things. And you're right. It is my fault. I chose to sell my channel. I chose to give up this thing, not realizing, say, you know what? This is my YouTube channel. This is my life. You can't come into my life and dictate to me and tell me what's better for me because you don't see it from my perspective. And then get mad at me when I lose all of those things. I can't do what you think I should do. I've never been that way. It's like you're trying to tell me to run a race with no legs. You're trying to tell me to do something that I innately just cannot do. And when I say I can't do that...
It's interesting. My dad always said to focus on what you're good at and to not really try to get good at what you're bad at and just outsource it if you can. Again, she's trying to make him into something that he just isn't.
In 2 weeks, I'll be moving out. I'll have my own place again. I'm starting my life over. And you guys know I couldn't make videos in the house. The only time I can make YouTube videos is when she's
Starting
gone.
over.
And you might be thinking, oh, why is
definitely
that?
where you want to go.
From my room and say, hey, you're too loud.
Beginning with a new change is exciting, to be honest. I don't know, maybe a lot of people are afraid of a new change, but starting over is it's nerve-wracking, but it's also really exciting. I look forward to it every once in a while when it's a great way to break the mold, one can say. Change is exciting for me, at least once in a while. I don't know for others, but yeah, everyone teach their own.
Hey, I'm trying to read. I'm like, wait, what? I gotta talk. I gotta make a video. I'm disturbing her. And yes, I'm venting and I'm ranting. If you stayed this long, thank you. But I needed to get this off my chest because it was brewing. Deeply hurt, and I hurt myself. I don't blame her at all. Everything that I've chosen to do is because I wanted to do it. I wanted to make someone happy. I thought I can be that person for someone else. and I thought I can do it. I thought I can get away from YouTube and Yu-Gi-Oh! And street performing. I thought I can go back to school and pass and get a real job and make some good money to pay all my bills. I thought I could be that man who could do those things. But the truth is, I have special gifts and talents that other people wish they had to be able to make money and do things in ways people wish they could. It's ironic, isn't it? It's ironic that I wish that I can go to school and work a 9-to-5 job all day long and pay all my bills. It's ironic that I want to do what people hate to do. They hate to go in and live a mundane life. They hate that. They want to have their own business. They want to make their own money. They want to have their free time. I had that. Literally, I would work 3 hours a day and have enough at the end of the month to pay all my bills and do whatever I need and travel. But that wasn't good enough for the person I was with. It wasn't secured enough. What if you didn't make enough? Was the question. What about medical bills? What about this? What about that? What about retirement? What about all the stuff? I truly want to do YouTube full time, not for a living. Yes, money comes along with it, and yes, my channel is dead, but I'll do it as a hobby because I like doing it and I can't give it up. I've made a video about not giving up before. I said I would never give up. I just can't. I enjoy making videos. I enjoy playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I enjoy being with my friends and doing those things, even at this age. Even 15 years later.
This broke my heart to watch because you could just tell how passionate he was about his hobby and how much he liked it. And I don't know why society, and I even see conservatives do this, they shame men for playing video games when Elon Musk is the #5 Diablo player in the world. I don't even know what Diablo is. I know it's some sort of video game. And if the men like it, why do the women have to tear down at the things they like and change him into something he's not? And we always hear women say that if he found me in the club, he can't tell me to stop going. Why do women think it's okay to tell men what they can and can't do? All right, guys, make sure you like the video on your way out and subscribe. And if you have any questions for this...
Yeah, it's just there's just a lot of things that go on in life, and some things are changeable, other things are just indefinite, and other things are just non-negotiable. You gotta be able to distinct those things between things that you can change for the better and things that are just innate within yourself. You gotta know your abilities, and that usually for your average guy, they get to know that part of them. I would say depending on their later 20s, maybe in their 30s, they start to really get to know themselves. But until then, everything is sort of like a project. That's why a lot of young guys are just lost in the sauce, you can say, if they're just trying to find out where their direction is in the first place before they can begin their grind. Like I said earlier, getting on your grind is the easier part, but finding your direction is where the struggle is almost always certainly at for young guys especially. But yeah, that's a good video. Pearl in the past has been kind of cray-cray, but this is a good video on her end, I would say. Gotta give it to her. She's coming off as much more balanced, much more well-rounded. Best of luck to her. I hope her future content continues to give this more balanced vibe, because this lady used to be kind of out there and not in the prettiest way. So peace, guys.
Hello, Past yRtR here. So remember to like and subscribe for more content, and of course, if speedruns tickle your fancy, you can always check out these videos that are gonna pop up real soon. I'm big on Budokai 2 speedruns as well as Pokemon Red, so see ya there. Come on, you come on, Yamcha, you're doing good. Nice, thank you, Yamcha. Good job, Yamcha. Good job.